Hey everybody, Clif here, and today in this video, I'm going to be doing another Carrot Yamato video. And the basic premise of this video is sort of going over like some small similar connections between Carrot and Yamato. Now, before I really dive into the necessary video itself, I want to be absolutely make sure I'm clear about the specifics on how this video is. Keep in mind that, as I said, that these are basically like small similar connections, alright? They're not to be represented by anything 100% and the same thing, or nearly like they have to be 100% accurate or 100% actually the very same thing. No, they're just like really small connections and how well, basically that's it is. Like they're just small connections that can sort of lead into something big, depending on how a person sees them. All right, because that's usually how sometimes how small details can be, and how they can lead into one small thing, and that a person sees, and how a person sees that leads into a much bigger thing, and that's different for everybody. So that's basically what this video is going to be necessarily about. As I said before, I'm a big fan of Carrot Yamato joining the Straw crew, and I really do hope that both of them can join the Strides after they leave Wano. I do know right now the current storyline, it does seem like there's more way to support that Yamato is actually going to sail the Straw Hats, because like in all honesty, Yamato has been the only one who's actually gone out there and necessarily say definitely that I do plan to sail with the Straw Hat Pirates. I do plan to go out there and sail with them. I have no doubt in my mind about that. Like, so Yamato is the only one who's like really gone out there and stated that. Carrot has not, but we do know one thing for sure, that even if Carrot, like in all honesty, Carrot doesn't really feel like the character like all right. So Carrot has already spent her time with the Strides and like that. She's already sailed with them before. So in reality, like Carrot, I feel like Carrot could ask Luffy necessarily if, hey Luffy, can I still travel with you guys? I feel like Carrot's position, because she's already sailed with them, Luffy probably wouldn't mind anything. So it doesn't seem much important for Carrot to really go out there and just stay and say, hey, I'm going to sail with Straw Hats as much as Yamato has done. I feel like it wouldn't necessarily be the same, because like she's already sailed with them. So in all honesty, like don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like Carrot cannot ask Luffy, hey Luffy, can I stay with you guys even more? Or and I feel like Luffy's answer could easily be yes, without any problems with it. But at the same time, you can also see a similar situation, just like when the Stripes were leaving Alabasta and they asked Vivi if she would still like to travel with them. Hey Vivi, do you still want to travel with us? If you can, it's up to you. I could see a similar situation falling out with Carrot, where they're basically going to ask her that same question. It could go either way. I'm not really sure. It's just that I feel like since Carrot's already still with the Straw Hats, it doesn't really feel the same to be doing it the same way as Yamato. But there are some similar connections that have both come out between Carrot and Yamato, and I feel like it'd be really good to represent these few things, because I see these as not as problems, or see these as defining not defining situations that state that Yamato is the much better choice or Carrot is the much better choice. No, I just see these as great connections, right? And to be honest, like if you look at all Strides and stuff like that, or any character in One Piece, you can always find some kind of connection, like some kind of similar connection, and whether it be big or small, or whether or not it leads to this or that, it's just whatever it is. All right, so now that I basically explained that, let's get into the actual context of the video, okay? So, as I said before, this is going to be like, think of a game as Connect the Dot with Carrot and Yamato. Alright, so I think the first thing I should start off with is, well, the adventures like that, okay? Now, when Carrot, we'll start with Carrot first, since she's the first one we got introduced to, okay? So, the first thing I want to start off with is this. So, one of the many first connections you can come with Carrot and Yamato is that they both stated something very important, okay? Something very important that is basically the same thing. Now, how it's basically worded, it can be different depending on how they said it, but it's basically the exact same thing, all right? When Carrot had snuck aboard the Sunny Annie, and everyone found out about her, it's like that. Carrot was basically telling Pedro, but she was also telling everyone else that that I'm sorry I snuck aboard the ship. I didn't mean to, but I wanted to go on an adventure, or at least once. All right, I wanted to go on an adventure at sea. I've always wanted to go on an adventure at sea. Carrot actually stated this. And that was a very emotional thing to do, especially when she's been trapped on Zoa all her life. She's never got to go out there and see the world, and she wants to know what it was like. And to continue on even further, or we have another connection that is very similar with Yamato, where Yamato also stated that that she wants to be free like Odin and stuff like that. She wants to go on adventures like Odin did. She wants to go out there on an adventure at CE, and you can see a connection to Air by how Yamato stated that she also wants to go on an adventure at sea, just much as how Carrot herself stated that that she always wanted to go out there or at sea on an adventure, or even if it was just once, but still, it's an adventure at sea. So so yeah, and we all know like Yamato, like for Yamato, she was necessarily trapped on Wanda, well not necessarily Wanda, but Onigashima all her life because of her father, or never having the privilege to go anywhere she wanted to, and even after the fact that she ate a devil fruit, the which prevented her from swimming, which made it even worse or impossible for her to actually escape. In all fairness, while Yamato's imprisonment was more conflicted with um, like hostages crisis and stuff like that, where you were actually forcibly held back. For Carrot's situation, and it was still hard. Like it wasn't necessarily easy for Carrot to necessarily leave whenever she wanted to, but it's not like it was the same level as Yamato's. So Yamato's was a little bit more deeper and a little bit more enforcing, while Carrot's was more of just like all right. So Carrot's connections was it wasn't necessarily easy. So it's not like it was like like as easy as 1, 2, 3, or even saying your ABCs. All right, it wasn't as easy as that. All right. But so yeah, so that's one of the first connections that you can represent. The other thing we can actually look forward to, and this isn't just for Carrot, but it's like for all the minks in general. But since Carrot is really the most anticipated character to join Stray Crew, I feel like using only her as the main situation for this is really helpful. But actually, it would make more sense to use Carrot generally for this to make sense on it. So, and I've actually made videos on this before, to where I used where I made like 3 different videos. It was like the rabbit on the moon, the monkey on the moon, and the wolf on the moon. Okay. Now, this is one thing that we can use to represent Carrot Yamato necessarily, is with the moon itself. And you're probably wondering, like, how? All right, how can you connect these two to the moon? All right, what is something similar to that? All right, so while Yamato's devil fruit itself, like her devil fruit, the Okuchi no Makami, is not really like a moon deity and anything like that. However, her devil fruit is basically a wolf guardian, all right, a wolf, right? And one connection that you can take between this and the moon is just like Yamato is basically someone who can transform into like a wolf deity or like a wolf being and like that. You can see like you can sort of see that sort of having some kind of like inspiring connection to like a werewolf and stuff like that. And just like how werewolves can have sort of like a mythology connection to the moon, and how it's because of the moonlight that transforms the man into the wolf. If you can see a connection with that, and plus just like how heavily the moon was used in Onigashima to help the minks during their fights, to help them win during their fights, even though wasn't like the moon was like an all lasting effect and stuff like that. It did help them out during times, but it also caused great problems for them whenever the clouds blocked out the moon and stuff like that. So it wasn't like it was perfect, but yeah. So I'm not here to like really speak about all perfections, okay? And then with the moon and with the rabbit itself, the rabbit has a lot of connections to the moon in mythology, especially like if you look at the in Chinese stories and stuff like that, like the rabbit on the moon, which can also be which was also in brought over into like Japanese cultures and stuff like that, where the rabbit pounces the mochi on the moon and stuff like that, to pounce mochi on the moon for like the elixir of life. I use this to represent one of my Carrot videos, like Carrot having like a moon devil fruit power and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's one connection that you can bring between these 2 characters. Now, while these connections have not necessarily been used in the story itself, but it's still a great connection, all right? Especially when you look at these 2 characters represented by 2 animals that have had representing connections to the moon, all right? Just like Yamato is basically like a humanoid person who can transform into a wolf. It's not that far off from considering some kind of werewolf in a way, even though she's not technically a werewolf, but you can see a similar connection, all right? And just like Carrot transforming to the power of the moon, having connection to the moon itself with all the other inks, and the fact that rabbits in our world have mythology connections to the moon itself. And not to mention the fact that if you were to look at Yamato in her hybrid form, or even Carrot in her Sulong form, you look at these 2, they are both beastly beauties, all right? Just take a look at them. Here's Carrot. Look at Carrot as Sulong. Beautiful. And now here's Yamato. Yamato, a beastly beauty. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So that's the second thing I want to go over. All right. So what are other connections we can go over? Here's another connection. This is probably the biggest one of all, but it's not like it's not like over insanely big, right? It's not like insanely huge, okay? But it is pretty big. The fact that, okay, so let's take for instance, so let's rewind the clock back, okay, and say if Yamato did not necessarily exist, or even if Yamato did not have the dog fruit or the Inu no Mi model Okuchi no Mikami, all right. And look, I'm not trying to be rude here and say that Yamato is not a great character, all right. I like Yamato, all right. Yamato is a great character, and I hope she joins the crew, all right. I really do. So I'm not here to necessarily be rude about Yamato, all right. I just need everyone to just hear me out on this, okay. So let's say we rewind the clock back, okay, and say Yamato did not exist, or even if the Okuchi no Mikami did not exist, okay? Now, one of the most popular theories for a lot of people consider, like, while there be 13 Straw Hats necessary, is one of these theories is because of the animal zodiacs and how each Straw Hat represent a member of each animal zodiac, okay? Now, we already seem to have most of the characters filled. While they're not necessarily perfect, but they do have good representations of the animals, okay? So, take for instance, Luffy represents the monkey, Zoro the tiger, Nami would be the cat. For instance, I should say, while there were only 12 animals, there were actually 13 in terms of the origin story. All right, so if anyone's familiar with the origin story of the 12 year zodiac animals and stuff like that, 13 animals participated in the race. Only 12 won. So basically, the cat did not win the race. Some stories different. I'm not really sure like which one's the actual story. So I'm not really sure which one's the actual story, which one's real. I just know, like, in terms of the origin story, 13 animals were part of the race. Only 12 basically won. So that's why there are only 12 years representing each animal. So Nami is the cat. Zoro is tiger, which I already said. Usopp would be the snake. Sanji would be the goat. Chopper would be the rat. Robin the rooster. Frankie the ox. Brook the horse, Jinbei the boar, and then that would just leave 3 more slots, all right? And you can obviously use Carrot to represent the rabbit, and then for the dragon, and it's kind of up in the air. Like to be honest, some people have suggested Momo, some people have suggested like Vivi, and I'm more entitled to believe that Vivi will get the right choice because in all fairness, Vivi has given a good reason to say, like, if she ever meets the Straw again, will you ever let me sail with you again? So I feel, in all honesty, you can use Vivi to represent the dragon, and who knows, like, how that's going to turn out, how that's going to work, I don't know, right? It's all up in the air to really get if. So we'll have to wait to see how that's going to turn out. But then you'll ask yourself, okay, well, that just leaves the dog. So, and as I said before, if we rewind the clock back and remove Yamato from this scenario, imagine, like, my other good choice that would have to be, like, if we were to use a character to represent the dog, then Wanda would be a good choice. Okay, now I bring this up because think about it. Wanda is sort of like Carrot's best mean friend. All right. Matter of fact, it really doesn't feel like she's like her best friend. It's more like Yamato, not Yamato, but Wanda sort of acts like a big sister. Like she's like a big sister to Carrot. All right, like Carrot sees her as her best friend or best sister, or that she's known on Zoe all her life, and that if Yamato did not exist, then I could consider Wanda being a great choice to fill that role. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, that's very good and all, but how does this connect? Well, think about it. The fact that Yamato's Delfuru is the Inu no Mi, basically the dog Furu, and Wanda is basically a dog mink. I can probably see, like, if Carrot does go with the Straw and stuff like that, I can somehow feel like like a great connection between Yamato and Carrot, and that maybe Carrot will feel like she gets along well with Yamato, because maybe in some sort of way Yamato will sort of remind Carrot of Wanda. Oh crap! I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I had to stop the video and stuff like that in order to wait from some distracting noise. Let's see. Try to remember the last thing I said. Okay, I know let's talk about Yamato and Wanda. So, all right. So I'll basically just pick up with this. So like we know how a great connection, like how you might see that Carrot can actually feel some sort of connection with Yamato that can sort of like remind her of Wanda in some way. All right. Now that doesn't necessarily mean I'm saying that Wanda and Yamato have the same personality or have to be literally the same character. No, it's just that Carrot might feel might feel like a great connection and action with Yamato in that way, right? And how she might remind her of Wanda. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Wanda and Yamato are basically the same age. They're basically 28. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they are the same age. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, they're probably both born in November. I might have to look that up. Matter of fact, I don't know if Wanda's birthday's ever been revealed. I know Yamato's birthday is November 11th, but I don't know about Wanda's. I could be wrong. I know they're both 28, but I can't remember about Wanda. Okay, well, so yeah, so there is a connection between that. All right, the other thing I want to talk about is basically the persons that they are like the person is great for them to carry on a will. All right, now this doesn't necessarily have to be someone like a person to everything. Like, all right, so generally speaking, like one good character you can respect for Carrot to carry on. Well, actually, before I really get into the will part, I need to go back to the Dawn part. All right, I need to talk about something like that. So both Carrot and Yamato are two characters that learned about the Dawn. All right, now keep in mind, to them, they still do not understand what this whole Dawn meaning is supposed to be. All right, like what this whole Dawn is supposed to be about. All right, so I'll start with Carrot because this is where we first learn about the Dawn. All right, it's basically what it makes, but it still is left up in the air. Right, and even now in the current storyline, we still do not understand what that whole Dawn is supposed to be about. Okay, we still do not understand. So for Carrot, the whole Dawn situation came. So after the Straw Hats were fleeing from Big Mom's territory in Whole Cake Island, it's like that. When they're arriving around the Sunny, Pedro had basically mentioned to Carrot, hey Carrot, listen, I don't mean to catch you by surprise, but I actually believe that it's Luffy and his friends are the ones who are destined to lead us to the Dawn. This is something we, the Minks, Inks, and the Kozuki tribes have been waiting for centuries. Now, for Carrot, that's caught her by surprise because like she didn't quite understand. Wait, for centuries? How come I never heard about this before? And that's a very interesting thing because like you figure you figure this would be like a great story time to tell kids. Like it'd be a great story to tell the children of Wano or like even the children of Minks, like the Mink children. But the fact that Carrot didn't know this and the fact that she had to suddenly learn this by surprise, you can see a very connecting thing to the Dawn. And the same thing can be said for Yamato. Now, how they actually learned about the Dawn is completely different, right? But the fact remains that these are two characters that have suddenly learned about this dawn like this great dawn on. Now for Yamato, she basically had to learn the dawn by herself, but she still does not quite understand what it means. All right, so we can probably assume that Yamato learned about the dawn by reading Odin's journal. Right, she found Odin's journal, and to her it was like her prized possession. It was basically like her personal Bible. She respected Odin a lot, and she truly believes to be like Odin. So how she learned about the Dawn is clearly different. Now for Yamato, she truly believes that it's Yamato who is destined to lead the world to the Dawn. All right. Now in some cases, it's hard. It's I'm more entitled to believe that it's actually Luffy who's supposed to be the one to lead the world to the Dawn, and that maybe Momo is destined to lead his tribe to the Dawn, like lead the people of Wano to the Dawn. And it's like, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like I'm not really sure, but it's however Oda tells the story, right? Like any option could be a good one, right? As long as it fits the story well, okay? So to continue on even further, we look at these connections, and the fact that you have two characters with Carrot and Yamato, who both learned about the Dawn on, you give or take how they learned about them is completely different, right? But these are two characters that did not know anything about the Dawn, all right, and the fact that they had to learn about and they were both basically like believed or told that these characters will lead the Dawn, and in fact, it's these two characters like for Luffy and even Momo, these were two characters who were basically important figures to face off against Kaido itself, and without Kaido be taken down, there was probably no way that Wano could open or even the fact that the Dawn will never come unless Kaido could ever truly be defeated. All right, so that's one thing to look at. Sure, it's a small connection, but it can lead into something big depending on how a person sees that. All right, that's something we got to remember. All right, so now talking about the wills. All right, so we can look at Odin's will and Pedro's will. Okay, now for Yamato, Yamato truly believes in a desire to carry on Odin's will. All right, so Yamato always believe that no matter what, I will carry on Odin's will. So for Yamato, if the raid was to fail, right, if Luffy was never to come, anything like that, Yamato would never give up, right? She would find a way to finally defeat her father, right? Even if she had to train all her life and as hard as possible, no matter what, she would have kept trying and trying to be able to defeat her father in order to save Wano, all right? Yamato has stated this as, well, not really stated it, but she's sort of like given that passion. She's sort of like given that look in her eyes to say that no matter what, I want to stop my father, right? I want to kick him out of Wano. I want to save Wano and stuff like that. I want to help Odin's dream. I want to do that, right? And the fact that, now that Kaido's been defeated, and Momo has basically decided to keep the Wano borders closed for now. I feel like for Yamato, her to like really carry on Oden's will can be something much bigger than that. All right, so for instance, like Yamato's dream to basically allow freedom, because like she knows what it's like to be forcibly trapped. She wants to basically entitle freedom, and this isn't just me. All right, this is what a lot of people believe for Yamato. All right, this is like why it makes her a great character, and the fact that she knows what it's like to literally be forcibly trapped, and to basically allow freedom, to basically be free from your enslavement. It's like that. It's really an enticing and emotional thing for her. So for her dream to basically carry on Oden's will isn't just like to focus on Wano itself. Oh, like sure, that's just one small step, but the world out there, is a much greater leap. All right, one small step for man, and one giant leap for mankind. All right, and pretty much the same thing for Yamato. Oh, Wano is just a small step, but the world out there, that's a giant leap. Now for Carrot, while Carrot has necessarily stated in context that she plans on carrying on Pedro's will, but for Pedro, one thing we can see for sure is that Pedro always like believed, like ever since he was a child, he always believed in these things, right? And even back when he was a child, Pedro basically asked Roger, King of Pirates, if he can sail with him, all right? And even though he was turned down, he would always remember that message that Roger told him, that everyone gets their time to shine, all right? All right, everyone does, all right? And he even told this message to Carrot, all right? Now, he told it to all the Strides, but that message was very important for Carrot the most, okay? And, and even during Carrot's fight with Sparrow, she still remembered that, all right? Basically where he told her, no matter how you do it, all right? Just keep getting stronger, all right? You just got to keep getting stronger and keep moving forward, all right? Never look back, okay? Now, you can probably see this as something important to know, the fact that, Roger told Pedro that everyone gets their moment, and just like Pedro told Carrot that everyone gets their moment. And the fact that you can look at it, Carrot has not gotten that moment, okay? You could probably consider like her fight with Sparrow, but that wasn't her moment, all right? Carrot was too blindsided by rage to basically avenge Pedro and stuff, right? A moment isn't really focused on necessarily rage and stuff like that. A moment is where you really focus on the battle, and where, like, sure, like you can use rage as sort of like a weapon to help advantage you, but it can also blindside you, okay? It's not just like one of your greatest, like, it's not only like a great a weapon of choice, but it's also like your greatest enemy, all right? It's kind of like a double-edged sword in that way. And the fact that Carrot did not have control of that and didn't know how to use that to her advantage basically made things worse for her. So that's not really a moment for her. So in all fairness, I would see no problems or even a great moment if Carrot can actually go out there and even sail the Straw Hats for like a grand adventure to their to Laptail. I think Carrot could learn a lot from this, and the fact that this might be emotional for her, or because just like Pedro wanted to basically sail with Roger and help this Dawn, help this this new dream come true. I feel like Carrot could be a great opportunity to build on that at. So it's a really emotional thing, the fact that these two characters both had someone that they looked up to, someone who basically these two characters can basically be seen as great choices to fill those dreams, to basically carry on those wills. So that's one connection you can bring between them. Sure, they're not necessarily the same, but they're small connections. All right, so what else can we go over? Here's something else. So another thing we can go over is this. Okay, so another thing we can go over, like a good opportunity to look at the 13 Straw Hats, is because of this. So if we were to rewind the clock back again, does everyone remember those Viva Card data books and stuff that came out? And you look at like the first 13 Straw Hat Straw Hat cards and stuff like that. Each of the 13 cards had like color reds, which was to represent like Luffy's crew and stuff like that, because like Luffy's color is red. For each of the 13 Straw Hats, they would be red. Okay. Now, you're probably wondering, like, wait, 13? Wait, hold on. You might want to count again. Vivi is 13, all right? But she's listed, her color is red, all right? And basically giving that sort of Vivi is sort of like an honorary member, right? Like, she is a Straw Hat, but not like a full-time Straw Hat, all right? So, and that's why, in all fairness, it's not necessarily bad to believe for Vivi to rejoin the crew. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, that just leaves slots 11 and 12. Oh, then, all right? So, what about 11 and 12? Well, 11 and 12 are represented by the Mary and the Sunny, okay? And you're saying, well, okay, well, that settles it. Carrot and Yamato are not going to join the crew. I feel like the Mary and the Sunny sort of both represent both Carrot and Yamato in that sense, right? And it's not just like in all fairness, I can see Mary representing Carrot, or even like the Sunny representing Carrot, right? Or even the Mary representing Yamato, and the Sunny representing Yamato. All right, so what do I mean by this? Okay, so the first thing I want to inspire is by this. So just as I said before, let's look at the layout, how that was done. Okay, so the fact remains is that all right, so for each of the first 10 listed on the video cards, it's like that from Luffy to Jinbei. All right, they're listed in the order that they joined the crew. Okay, now for BBE, she's listed as 13. Mary is listed as 11, and Sunny is 12. Okay. Now, what's interesting about that is that Sunny and Mary are not listed listed as the numbers that they first appeared. All right, because if that's the case, Mary would be number 5 before no wait, no, number 4 before wait. No, wait, number 5. Yeah, I had it right the first time. Number 5 before Sanji. All right, Mary came before Sanji, and then Sunny would be after Frankie. Okay. The fact remains that those numbers were not there and that they're placed on 11 12 is very interesting. Also, coming to the fact that if you think about it, it would sound like it would be more sense to have Vivi be before 11 and 12, but the fact that she is 13 really hints at it. And you're probably wondering, like, where are you going with this? Where is your point? Okay, well, my point is this. If everyone is, like, I'm not sure if this is the same in every culture, but there is, like, sort of like a really old tale, like a very old tale that basically states that that you should always name a ship after a female, right? You should be named after a she, okay? Now, why is this? Okay, so basically it is stated that it's basically stated that ships are given the name she, or basically a female name, is because it's basically believed like a mother or a goddess would help protect the ship during and the sailors during the seas and storms, right? And you can see a good character representing this with Nami herself, right? Nami is the navigator of the Strike crew, and Nami has stated very carefully that it's because like it is her duty as navigator to navigate the ship in direction to protect not only her captain but her crew themselves. Nami has also been referred to as a goddess before, or so the fact remains is that you can see how Nami is a great connection to basically describe that, okay? And I can see this as a good possibility, and why you can see both Yamato and Carrot, who are basically two different female characters, why these characters can be used to represent, why you can use the Sunny and the Mary to represent these two characters to fill those slots. Now you're probably wondering, okay, well that sort of explains that, but that still doesn't explain like how you can see a connection, okay? Well, you can use the Mary to represent like the night sky, and the Sunny to represent the dawn, all right? And the fact that the night and the dawn have both entitled connections between Yamato and Carrot in some way, especially for Carrot. The fact that Carrot is a mink with Sulong with the moon is like that, and the fact that they are basically a mink tribe, right, that believes in this dawn to come, really gives anticipations on why you can see the Sunny and the Mary representing between the day and the night cycle and stuff like that. And for Yamato, just as she's a character who has basically been trapped her whole life, and the fact remains that she wants to be free, and that if the dawn, like in some way, if the night was trapped with no way to free the dawn, it's a great emotional anticipation for that, a great emotional cycle to see that. So I can see that as I can see a great reason why you can represent the Sunny and the Mary to fill those slots, to basically give like a small hint why two female characters could be great choices. And the fact that the two most popular female characters to join the Strike crew is Carrot and Yamato, to me it all makes sense. Now whether or not they actually join is hard to say. It's up in the air. All right. So Alright, so, I think that's it. I don't think there's pretty much anything else to say. I might be forgetting something. Oh, wait, okay, here's something. So, let's say, for instance, this. So, here's something. We'll finish off with this, okay? So, there are some, like, similar panels inside that where, both Yamato and Carrot have sort of, like, had, like, they're, like, similar panels that are pretty much, like, sort of, like, pretty much the same thing, that where you have, like, similar, well, they're basically like similar panels that are the same, that have about Luffy, Chopper, and Yamato. And then you also have one having a similar panel with Luffy, Chopper, and Carrot, or in a similar situation. So the places are different for what they're wearing is different, and what they're eating is different. Right, but there are two panels that are basically similarly the same name. So yeah, so go ahead and take a look at these two panels. Yeah, you can see the similarities in those, can't you? So yeah, that will basically do it for this video. Nothing much else to go over. Just small connection between those two characters. Look, I'm all for these two characters joining the Strike Crew, and I believe, like, in all honesty, I believe that Carrot and Yamato have both proven that they would be great characters to join the Strike Crew. Doesn't necessarily mean that they have to join the crew in order to make a better story. No, okay, but you can look at them and you can see that, okay, Carrot and Yamato have both proven that they're worthy to become Strike Pirates, right? They've already proven that. They've already earned a reputation to be worthy of that. They don't need to necessarily prove that to us, right? They've already proven it to us, okay? We just have to know that they can believe in that themselves. Okay, Yamato does, and I feel like Carrot can as well. Okay, so yeah, so that will do it for this video. So yeah, so that's it. That's all I got for the video. So hey, if you enjoyed the video itself, if you enjoyed like these small connections I pointed out, they're not nothing big. They're not insanely huge. So please don't try and don't try and be rude and stuff like that and say like these connections are dumb. It's like look, I don't care if you think they're dumb or not. All right, I just want to point out something. I just want to basically do another Carrot Yamato video. And I wanted to basically do something more elaborating and like that, okay? So these are just small connections, all right? Just something small that you can see big, depending on how a person sees them, okay? That's basically what it is. So yeah, so that will do it for the video. So, hey, if you did enjoy the video and you did like the video, please let me know by smashing that like button, okay? Yeah, smash that like button, okay? Smash it, please. Also, subscribe to the channel, okay? I pretty much be appreciated if you can subscribe to the channel, okay? Of course, it's all up to you. You guys make your own decisions. You guys make your own choices, okay? And hit the notification bells, okay? You can even follow me on Twitter if you choose. So yeah, so that will do it for the video, and you all have a great day. Bye now.